Beautiful. Okay, great. Let's get started. So follow-up boss, right? Follow-up plans, statuses, buckets, and next action items. This was a quote from our coach, Chris. He said the next 60 days is going to dictate your next 12 months. And I know that we've been diligently, working through Follow-Up Boss and trying to understand it. If once we nail this, guys, and get it to be super organized, it's going to actually give us the ability to do more than 2 to 4 deals a month, right? Okay, so here we go. So this all maps with Zillow now. Everyone knows this, right? Our new Zillow connections that are coming through.
Hey,
with
Gab, we can't see
Yes.
it. We can't see the screen.
You can't see my screen. Oh my goodness.
No, it just says Zoom.
Sorry. Okay, hold on. My bad. Okay. Let me know when we're good.
Good.
Cool. Okay. All right, very good. So this all maps with Zillow now. Everybody knows that, right? Some of you are seeing your Zillow connections coming through with their Zillow page and the view on Zillow Flex option. So they're syncing really nicely, right? It kind of gives us the ability to move away from that Zillow Premier app to see what they're searching because we have a direct link within their profile, right? So Dave, can you read this first slide?
Sure. This all maps with Zillow now. Every lead will have one of these statuses: name, same as lead; attempt contact; spoke with customer; appointment set; met with customer; showing homes; submitting offers; under contract; closed; or nurture. Please note, no trash status, no rejected status. You will now align all of your leads with the above status. There will be no other statuses.
Great. So are we trashing anyone?
Nope.
Beautiful, right? So no trash, no archive. We are going to nurture them, right? Cool. All right. Andrew, can you read this next slide?
Buckets. All statuses will now align with buckets. Buckets are important. Why are buckets important?
Can somebody answer that? Why are buckets so important? I'll
So
call
we
on you.
could sift through people and know like where they belong.
Yes, so we can keep totally organized, right? It's important for us because then we know who to spend most of our time with and who we maybe need to spend a little less time with, but more time being in front of and touching base with, right? Like our nurture clients. So they're important because it helps us navigate where we're spending our time, right? Like the people that really, really need us, and then the people that might need us in a few months from now, right? Okay. Marla, can you read this? The types of buckets?
Types of buckets: qualify bucket, active client bucket, nurture bucket, closed bucket, needs organized, and danger bucket.
I think by now everyone has a good understanding of what these all mean, right? Like why we're putting people into certain buckets. Beautiful. Okay. In your qualify bucket, so this I'm coming across the most, right? Where people are saying like, I spoke to the customer, why is it still in qualify? They're still in qualify, right? Because we didn't move past that spoke to customer, not actively showing them homes, right? We're not actively submitting offers. So when they're in our qualify, we need to find out kind of what more moves is it going to take for us to get them to the finish line, right? To that next step of being able to set appointments for them. So that being said, hold on. Can I have someone volunteer to read this slide? All of the points that are going to
do
be
it.
in your qualified bucket. Who's
I
that?
can do it. Me, Tiff.
Perfect. Tiff,
so
go ahead.
Qualified bucket, aka I don't know where they are at bucket. Are they buying or am I moving them to nurture? Have not qualified them yet. Oh, it changed to active. There you go. This is the second most frequent amount of contacts in any bucket because you have not qualified them yet. Follow up daily. Guilty of being pre-approved or ready to sign a listing agreement until otherwise proven innocent. Assault them. Question: how long do you keep them in the qualified bucket? Until we send them to the nurture bucket. Oh, sorry. How long do we keep them in the qualified bucket until we send them to the nurture bucket? Answer, if you think to yourself, if I call them again, they are going to kill me, then call them 2 more times. And under statuses that will fall into the nurture bucket, into the qualified bucket are leads, attempted contacts, and spoke with customer.
Cool. So has anyone ever heard of the 10 days of pain?
Yeah.
We've heard that before, right? Yeah. So this is kind of what it's referring to, right? We have a new lead or connection, right? Or anybody else that we're working with. Now we got to figure out where they're at, right? And sometimes they don't answer your phone call the first day. Sometimes they won't answer it the second day. But I promise you, if you call them 10 times, right, and you're sending texts letting them know like, hey, I just tried to connect with you. I wasn't successful, but I'd love to talk to you a little bit more. As long as you're doing those things, right, then you're doing everything right. And then once we find out, like it says right here, right, if they finally answer and they're like, oh my God, like leave me alone, that's when we're going to, nurture them, right? So over here on the right-hand side where it says lead, do we want any of our stages to say lead?
No.
No. Why? Why don't we want them to say lead?
Leads the same as new, and once your eyes have seen them and you're aware that they're in your CRM, they shouldn't be new anymore.
Yeah, correct, right? Because then they go in your needs organizer, your danger bucket, right? Like we don't want anyone in those buckets. We need to know exactly where people are at and how to get them to the next stage, right? Okay, let's see. Can I have a volunteer for this slide? Our active client bucket. Hey, Raf, can you read this for me?
Yeah, active client bucket. These are people active in our pipeline and we are actively working with them. What is the next step for every person in this bucket to move them forward? Example, move from showing homes to writing offers. Follow up as much as you humanly need to. Figure out what I have to do to move them an inch forward. And do I have to go take a video of the house and send it to them? Do I have to get them pre-approved? Show more houses, search off markets. Status that will fall into this bucket. 1, appointment set. 2, met with customer. 3, showing homes. 4, submitting offers. 5, under contract. 6, listing agreement. And 7, active listing.
Cool. Does everybody understand why these 7 stages are within the active client bucket?
Yeah.
Yeah. Why are these included in active clients?
These are people who are that are doing things that are right now that are being active. So therefore you don't want to go too many days without contacting them. You want to make sure you're on top of them the most.
Correct. And do you think that we probably have something to touch base with them like kind of all the time, every day or two? Would you agree with that? Yeah,
Yeah.
right. Most people we're working with, like they don't know how the process goes, right? So even just touching base to say, hey, listen, this is our next step, right? That's your follow-up task. Touch base with them to make sure that they're clear on next steps, and that anything that you promise to follow back with them on, you are, right? You're doing. Danielle, can you read this one?
Yes. The nurture bucket, actually. Sorry. The nurture bucket, long-term nurture, 30 days or more out. How do I bring this person back to life and figure out what their time frame is? Once every 30 days at least, once a month via text, phone, or email. Long-term cadence, if someone says I'm not ready for 6 months, we don't care and we're still checking in monthly. And the status in this bucket is nurture.
Right. So are we going to follow up and nurture people until they buy or die?
Yes.
Yeah, right. The most important part about getting people to find out whether we're going to work with them or if they're nurture is we have to qualify them. We have to ask them a simple question like, hey, what are your real estate plans, right? For 2023. That's probably the best question you can ask to give you direction and to like kind of how your cadence is going to look with them, right? If you ask someone like this, maybe it was an Upcity deal, right? Or lead that came through and you give them a call and you're like, hey, like, what are your plans for next year? They turn around and you're like, you know what? We're thinking of moving probably at the end of the school year, right? We'd like to be settled in before the new school year. So now this should say to us like, okay, our nurture cadence now is going to be great. I got to be in front of them until they're ready to move, right? Like we don't want them to forget our face. We don't want them to forget our name. And we definitely don't want them to forget our voice, right? So this is great for you to stay on top of people who are maybe a few months out, right? Putting that follow-up task though, it's attached to the client is going to help you, it's going to help poke you, right? And remind you like, hey, listen, they're going to need you soon, right? Don't let them slip through the cracks. Now, are we gonna put someone on a follow-up nurture task if we don't think we can find them something? Like if they want to rent a room for $400 a month, are we gonna call them every month? Are we gonna work with them?
Yes.
Yes? No, someone like that, if they're just really not qualified to be renting.
Please, fill in
or
regular
to-
credit. Thank you.
If we're not going to be actively showing them something because we just can't find them, like that doesn't exist in the real estate world, maybe on a private, kind of property owner. But we're not gonna be able to work with them. So we don't really need to follow up if you choose like, hey, I can't help them.
Thank you.
Who is that?
Can you mute Gil, please?
Is that Gil? I can't find him
Yeah,
on
he's
here.
very chatty during this training.
Mute. Okay. All right, cool. And the next one, our closed bucket. Can I have a volunteer for this?
I can read it.
Hey, Britt. Oh, you read it? Perfect.
Closed bucket, different types of nurtures because this relationship is established. How am I bringing value consistently and how am I constantly reminding them that I am an agent? Follow up every 30 days minimum, if not more. These are the people we sold houses to. You should be calling once a month because if you aren't, someone else will. And this should be labeled as closed bucket.
Why is it so important that we don't touch, like that we don't lose touch with our closed people?
Because
Because
those are
if
your
you like-
best clients. They're your best friends. Those are going to be your referral partners.
Absolutely, right? If you worked with them and you gave them the service that I know that we stand for, right, as an organization, they're gonna want to refer you, right? But if we lose sight of them and we're not touching base with them, right, that referral business might not come. So this should be just as much of a priority to everybody, your closed people, because they already know, like, and trust you, right? They transacted with you. That says something. If we lose sight of these people, we could really be dropping the ball on referral business, and referral business is the best business, right? So these are super important, just as much as our active clients. Our closed clients are just as important to us. Can I have someone read this slide? Our needs organized bucket. I think we've probably heard that. We probably hear this like term in our sleep at this point, right? Can someone read this slide for me?
I'll do it for you. The needs organized bucket is, we'll get to these in a minute. Can anyone guess what this bucket is for?
Anybody?
It needs to get organized.
Yeah, like we have no idea where they're at, what stage they're in, right? When was the last time we even spoke to them? How did they even get in our CRM, right? We want to make sure that no one's in this kind of like the gray area, essentially, right? Because we have our active people are black and white, active, closed, black and white. We need people who are no gray areas. We need to know where they're at in the funnel so that we know how to approach them with our follow-ups, right? You guys are all super familiar with the danger bucket, right? Can I have a volunteer for this one?
I'll do it. The danger bucket. This bucket protects you from any of your qualifier active client leads from falling through the cracks. If for some reason you do not have a task set up for either of these leads, it will fall into the danger bucket for you to save. This is a way to see leads that don't have tasks assigned to them. Agents should never have a lead in the danger bucket. A great agent will have a good, clean pipeline.
So if we spoke to somebody, right, and they're still showing up in our danger bucket, what step did we totally miss? Why are they still in our danger bucket?
You didn't change like their status.
No.
No task associated to it.
Correct. Yes. So this is, I think this is why I wanted to do the training, right? Because everyone is a little bit confused, like, wait, I spoke to them. Like, you know, I'm meeting with them. Why are they still in my danger bucket? And the answer to that is because there's no follow-up task assigned, right? They're in danger of us losing touch with them. So going forward, right? If you're qualifying your leads or anyone in your CRM and you're still seeing them in your danger bucket, make sure that when you open up that profile, there's a follow-up task assigned. That's the only way to move them out of danger. Cool. Does that make sense for everybody? Because I know like the past few weeks, everyone is still a little bit like confused and it's a little bit of a shift. So it takes some getting used to, but I want to really drive that home because it's always going to show up in your danger bucket if there's no follow-up task. The second you put a follow-up to call them, to text them, whatever that is, they disappear, right? Cool. Everyone give me a thumbs up. We all understand that? Okay.
Hey,
What do I do
Gab,
now with all the... Yes.
I have a quick question about that. The
Sure.
danger bucket. So I know we're not trashing anybody, we're not archiving anybody.
Mhm.
But if we don't want to work with them and they're our nurture, we're not setting a task for them, they're gonna fall into our danger bucket?
No, because
They
you set them
won't.
to nurture. Because you change
Okay.
their stage to nurture.
Okay,
Nurture leads do not need a follow-up task.
Only
okay,
leads in
gotcha.
the Active bucket, correct?
Those are only
What happened?
active. Those are only
leads in the
active.
active bucket.
Wait,
Need a
hold on. Wait, what did you say?
Only leads in the active bucket need a task, correct?
Only
Active
leads
and
that-
qualify.
Yes. Active and qualify need a follow-up task. Okay, so if you, like I said, if you have somebody who's maybe Section 8 and they just don't qualify and there's just really nothing out there for them, right? We can nurture them, but we don't have to have a follow-up task assigned to them. If they are in the stage of nurture, you do not need a follow-up task. Okay, any other stage like active or qualify, and you're going to need follow-up. Does that all make sense? Do we know why? Okay, so look right here, statuses in qualified bucket that do not have a task set up, right? So these are either people we spoke to, or they're just marked as lead, or could be placeholder, right? Or they're in the active client bucket and they don't have a task set up. So they're either qualify or active and they don't have a task. If they have a task, will they be in their in your danger bucket? If they have a task assigned to them, will they
No.
be in your danger bucket?
No,
No, correct. Everyone good on that? I feel like we still seem a little bit confused. Good? Thumbs up? All right. All right. What do we do now with all this information, right? And what the hell is a needs organized bucket? This is where the opportunity is, right? So, can I have another volunteer? Jenny, can you see my screen?
Hold on, I was trying to unmute myself. Hold on 1 second. Yeah, you want me to read this?
Yes, please.
Put all your leads into the proper stages that align with the Zillow stages, no matter where the lead came from. New, attempted contacts, spoke with customer, appointment set, met with customer, showing homes, submitting offers, under contract, and closed. Oh, no.
I was gonna say, are we putting anyone in the trash or are we rejecting anybody? Are we rejecting anyone?
No, I don't think, can we do that on? No.
No, we're not archiving and we're definitely not trashing anybody, right? If you cannot work with the client, you cannot service them, they will be in your nurture bucket. We have to assign the stage nurture. Cool, right here. Okay. Andrew, can you read this one?
Action item, contact all of your leads, qualify, AKA talk to them, build a relationship. Crazy, right? Invite to your next client event. Be cool if we had one coming up. Ask what their real estate plans are for 2023. Duh.
yeah, guys, just pick up the phone and talk to these people. If they're in your qualified bucket, we don't really know where they're at, right? Call them, find out what their plans are. Invite them to breakfast with Santa. I can't tell you how many people I've seen like sending that text, and I love it, right? It's a great way to re-engage them, and a great way to start that relationship up again. But it's so important to pick up the phone, right? Talk to them, find out where they're at so that we can guide them to their next phase of life, right? Well, phase of home buying, I should say, not life. Okay, we're gonna make sure to call and text, right? So we have our pokables within our follow-up list. Has everybody seen that? Yes? How to open up your text and your pokables, right? How to send it via follow-up list? Okay. Make sure we're using those. The whole goal here is to start a conversation that leads to motivation, right? So you can properly set your task and follow-up cadence. I think we kind of talked about that, right? Without two-way communication, this is impossible. There's no way of us knowing where they're at, where they lie in the home buying process, unless we pick up the phone, right? Dave, can you read this one?
Action item, get good at two-way communication. Use Pokable text under text templates. B, use breakfast with Santa event under text templates.
Yeah.
Engage,
awesome.
engage, then engage some more.
Awesome. That's perfect. We just talked about that, right? Danielle, can you read this one?
Action item, set tasks for all your leads in your database, and please don't forget your detailed notes.
Why is this so important to assign a task and notes?
Just to keep yourself organized, to create tasks is obviously important, so your leads don't end up in your danger bucket. Just, again, keep yourself accountable and keep yourself organized. So you
Yeah,
don't
for sure. Can we remember everything? No. We're human, right? We fall short a lot of the times. This is our safety net follow-up us, right? We're never going to remember to call Tim, right? In 3 weeks, we're not going to do it. But if we're putting the follow-up boss task on to this person, when we open up that follow-up boss, like the morning of, it's going to poke us to call them. And when we're setting up that follow-up task, put our notes in there, right? Like, what do we need to follow up with them about? What did I last know? She told me that, her daughter, they were celebrating her daughter's birthday, and then they were going to start looking, right? Those things, that's important information to put in your notes, because then that helps again, when you're picking up that phone to follow up with her. Hey, how was her birthday party? Did you have a good time? Like something, right? It shows them that you were actually listening to them and that you do what you say you're going to do, which is follow up. That's most important, right? Okay, an action item is, this is to learn proper follow-up cadence, right? To stay in touch with your people. Whoever talks to the most people wins the game of real estate. I've probably been hearing that for like literally 5 years, and it's so true. Who's ever having the most conversations with these people, they're going to win, right? They're going to 10x their business just because all they're doing is picking up the phone and talking to them. Hey, Raph, can you read this one?
Action item, inbox 0, follow up with your tasks daily. A, today's tasks are all done, and B, no overdue tasks.
Everyone knows where to find tasks, right? Yes? All right, cool. So I know during some coaching calls, people were a little confused on how I got there, but it's on the upper left-hand corner, it'll say task. It'll show you all your tasks, anything overdue, and anything upcoming, right? So now I have a question for you guys. If we have, I don't know, 100 people, right, in our danger bucket, we should be setting up how many tasks?
100.
Exactly right. So we should have a good number of follow-up tasks to come in the future. That makes sense? We don't want any overdue tasks. So if you're getting in here and you're signing a follow-up task, you should be picking up the phone and checking off that task in their profile. I'm noticing a lot of people, I guess, are thinking that Follow Boss is automatically going to get rid of that follow-up. It does not. It will stay there for 5, 6 days, 3 weeks, right? If you don't check it off. So be very, very diligent when you are picking up the phone to talk to, your clients, that you're making sure that you did that action item, because we don't want it to be in our overdue bucket. Is that it? believe that is it. I'm going to open this up because I feel like there might be some questions. Are there any questions about buckets, follow-up tasks, danger, anything like that? We all 100% clear? I know this is a little bit repetitive, but I really, really, really wanted you guys to get your eyes on it again because I'm getting a lot of the same questions. So hopefully this avoids it. We do have the training on the university. So if you need to, revisit it, please do. If you have any other questions, ping me. I'm happy to answer. But thanks guys for hopping on, and I'll see you next week. Bye.
Thank you. Bye.